Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi, Maseches CHULLIN Daf Pei Beis. We begin on Pei Aleph Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom of the Amud. Okay, so in the Mishnah we learned that in order to trigger the Isser of Oisoi Vesbenoi, which involves a fellow doing Shechita on the animal and its offspring within the same day, that would only be Asr. According to Reb Shimon, that would only be Asr if we are shechting something which is edible. So the Shechita, the act of Shechita, produces edible materials. But otherwise, if it's an inedible Shechita, it doesn't qualify as an act of Shechita with respect to the halacha of Oisei Vesbenoi. So you shechted the mother animal, and it was a Shechita which did not produce edible material. For instance, we have a parah aduma. You don't eat it. We have a shur haniskel. We have egla ruf. Egla ruf is the calf that's brought to address a victim that was found on the road. You meant to behead it. It's asur b'hano. You're not meant to eat it. You're not meant to benefit from it. Shechita on these animals don't qualify as a Shechita with respect to Oisei Vesbenoi, and then you could do Shechita on the offspring on the same day. Okay, so amongst the in the list of examples of a Shechita she'ena ru'ya, a Shechita which is not suitable, not qualified, doesn't produce edible material, we have paras chatas, paraduma. Ask the Gemara, 3 lines from the bottom. Paras chatas Shechita she'ena ru'ya. What's wrong with a Shechita on the paraduma? It's inedible. It doesn't qualify as Shechita because of that. Listen to this brisa, where Reb Shimon himself considers it edible materials. Vatani Reb Shimon Omer, the paraduma, even after Shechita, mitama tumas eichlin. Its basar, its flesh, is considered food with respect to conducting tumah. That typically applies to food materials. Now the question is, according to Reb Shimon, we know this from elsewhere, Reb Shimon holds that unless this material is permissible, you can have a gnaw from it, you can feed it to somebody, only that's called eichel. Even if you feed it to a guy, if you have any hana from it, but something which is asur b'hana, something from which you can't have benefit, like the flesh of the paraduma, it's not makabel tumah. That's his halach. Still in all, Reb Shimon says, para mitama tumas eichlin. The basar of paraduma is classified as food material with respect to tumas eichlin, even after shechita. You know why? It had potential, has a moment in time where it's potentially okay. What does that mean? It's potentially edible. We turn to the next page. V'amar Reb Shimon Lakish, he comes and explains for us. What's this potential edibility that Reb Shimon is talking about? Reb Shimon himself will tell us that a para can be redeemed. You find a nicer one, you can redeem it even after shechit, even if it's already sitting on a pile of firewood, ready to be burnt. Reb Shimon, para niftis, it can be redeemed al gabi marachas, on its pile of wood. In which case you can eat it. Furthermore, Rashi brings it, according to Reb Shimon, something which is slated for redemption, it is already considered as such. We treat it as though it was already redeemed. It has that potential. We see potential as actuality, in which case we classify it as edible food. So back to our Mishnah. If in fact the basar of a paraduma is considered edible, halachically food, halachically edible, so the shechita done on the paraduma is considered edible shechita which produces edible material. So why is it not a proper shechita regarding Oisei Vesbenoi? It should be considered a proper shechita like any other shechita ru'ya. You're right, says the Gemara. Amar Rav Shaman bar Abba Amar Rabbi Yechanan. The fact that the Mishnah mentions paras chatas ain't a Mishnah. It doesn't belong in the Mishnah. Delete it. It's called shechita ru'ya. Okay. Check that off. Next item. In the Mishnah we mention also egla rufa. Same question. Ve'egla rufa lav shechita ru'ya. You mean to say the shechita on the egla rufa is not a proper shechita? Doesn't produce edible material? You mean to say that the egla rufa is already considered asr before it was beheaded? Now we have a Mishnah which seems to say otherwise. It's not asr while it's alive, in which case a shchita adon on it is a proper shchita. Vatnan nimtza harag, you send out the police and you find the murderer before the process was done. Before the egla had the arifa. Still alive, send it back to the farm. Send it back to go out and join the herd. So while it's still alive, it's fully okay. In which case, the shchita should be considered a shchita ru'iyah. You're right. Amar Rav Shimon Lakish, Mishum Rabbi Yanai. The fact that the Mishnah includes egla rufa on the list of inedible shchitas ain't a Mishnah. It doesn't belong to the Mishnah. It's meant to be deleted. Because the egla rufa, while still alive, is fully okay. Now, who is he quoting? Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai hachi? Is that true that according to Rabbi Yanai, this early stage, the egla rufa is still okay? Rabbi Yanai himself teaches us otherwise. That even during the egla rufa's lifetime, at a certain point, it becomes asr, even during its lifetime. Gvul shamat, I heard a gvul, like a boundary, there is a point in time which triggers isser on the egla rufa, even during its lifetime. So I've heard it from my teachers, but it escaped me. I'm not sure. V'nazvin chavraya, my chavraya, the colleagues in the Beis HaMedrash, loimar, they suggested to say as follows: the trigger point is when it's delivered to the location, to the site. Yeridasa, bringing it down la nachal eisen, to the hard, the tough ravine down there, oisarta, that triggers the isra on the calf. If that's the case, that even during the calf's lifetime, it's already asr at a certain point. So what was the problem with our Mishnah, which says that the egla rufa is already asr? Yeah, it depends when. Before or after delivery to the site. The Taras, we could have simply answered, Kan koidem yurida, the Mishnah over there in Mesechus Saita talking about discovering the murderer and sending the calf back to the herd. That's when it was found early enough in the process before koidem yurida, before it was delivered to the site. In which case it's still mutter. V'kan, but our Mishnah, where we consider the egla rufa as something which is asr and forbidden, la'achad yurida, speaking if it was delivered to the site. So why delete it? Why do we have to do such drastic? Just draw that line between before and after. Amar Pinchas Bredab Ami. According to Rav Yana, you're right. Anan, but we had a different version. Mishmeid Rav Shimon Lakish Masninla. We had this quoted from Shimon Lakish himself, not in the name of Rav Yana. Egla rufa in a Mishnah that he deleted it from our list in the Mishnah. Because according to Shimon Lakish, the egla rufa is never asr during its lifetime, so it doesn't belong in our Mishnah. But you're right, according to Rabbi Yanai, there's a certain point in time that the isra gets triggered, which is when it's delivered to the site. And it can very well be that our Mishnah is talking about at that stage. In any case, according to this latest version, Rav Shimon Lakish is of the opinion that the egla rufa does not become asr during its lifetime. Absolutely not. Really? Amar Rav Ashi, ki avinam bei. When we spent time in the Beis Medrash of Rav Papi, we delved into this topic. We had a problem. Kashlan. We had a kashi on this. Mi Amar Rav Shimon Lakish hach. Is that true? According to Rav Shimon Lakish, there's no isr applied to the egla rufa during its lifetime. V'itmar. Listen to this discussion. See poirei mitzayra. Two birds that the mitzvah has to bring during his purification process. One has shchita done to it, one is just sent away. At what point does it become asr? When do they become forbidden? Rabbi Yechon Amar, Misha shchita. When you take the bird and you shech it, that's when it becomes asr. But the one that you send away never becomes asr. Rabbi Shimon Lakish Amar, no, Misha slikicha. As soon as you buy them, they become asr. Why? What's this based on? Rabbi? And the question was, my time to Rabbi Shimon Lakish, what's it based on? Through Gzeira Shava. He connects it to egla rufa. Gomar kicha kicha, we have Gzeira Shava. Comparing the words kicha, which are said in both contexts. By the birds it says, v'lakach al-metar, but the egel rufa it says v'lakach chuzuk ne'ir. We learn it megla rufa, and just as over there, the egel rufa does become asur at a certain point, even during its lifetime when it's delivered to the site. Likewise, the birth of the metzora. So according to this citation of Reb Shimon Lakish, he fully agrees that the egel rufa can become asur during its lifetime. So this is consistent with the whole Mishnah, that the shechita of an egel rufa is not going to produce edible material because it's asur. So what was the problem? Why do you have to delete the Mishnah? Shimon Lakish, why? Helam Reb Chia Ba'aba. You're right. It wasn't Shimon Lakish who deleted it. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, he quotes Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan is the one who holds that egel rufa doesn't become asur. Does not become asur during its lifetime, and therefore he's compelled to delete it. Delete the egel rufa item from the list of inedible shechita. It's now Mishnah. Egel rufa ain't a Mishnah. Okay, so the bottom line is, according to Reb Shimon, a shechita which doesn't produce edible material is not considered regarding Esav Esbenai. Amongst that we have the paraduma, we had the egel rufa. We deleted paraduma because technically it's edible material. And the egel rufa depends on your position, according to those that say that it becomes asur even during its lifetime. Then it could work with the Mishnah. But if you don't, then you have to delete it from the Mishnah as well. Okay, continues the Mishnah. So when you shech the mother animal, you're not meant to shech the baby within the same day. Okay, so this works out very well with the farmer who keeps track, who tags all his animals, knows what's the mother, what's the... But let's say two customers purchased. One purchased the mother animal, one the offspring. Shnaim shalakhu, paro b'na. Reuben bought the para, Shimon bought the calf. They can't shech the same day, so which one goes first? First come, first serve. Eizeh shalokach rishon, the first person who purchased, yishchet rishon, he has the right to shech first. Listen, if the second fellow jumps ahead, okay, he's in luck. Now the first one explained, of course, if he had indication that the first one intends on doing shechita today, it's not right for him to do so, but either was speaking that he was unaware, or the fact is, he did what he did. Amrav Yosef. When the Mishnah speaks about Reuben doing his shechita before Shimon, because he purchased first, it's not a requirement to do it that way. Linyan dina tnan, that's if there's an issue. They come to the Rav, to the Bezdin, who gets first, so we give it to Reuven. But there's no requirement, there's no obligation for Reuven to shech first if he has no reason to. Tana, we have in a brisa, im kadam hasheni, if the second one jumped ahead and did first, hareza zoris, he's speedy v'nisker, and he gained. Zoris means the Levi Suri avoided doing an isser. If in fact he would be number two, so now he's number one, he avoided that, v'nisker, and he gained the akacha bisri, as his meat a day earlier. Continues the Mishnah. We're going to see all kinds of variations of the Isser of Esav Esbenai. So we're going to learn that actually it's multi-directional. Although in the pasuk it speaks of Esai, so the mother animal, the Esbenai and the offspring, and that order really goes the other way too. It goes backwards. He does shechita on the offspring and then goes back to the mother animal. That's also in violation. So it's multi-directional. It says the Mishnah Shachat Para. He did shechita on the parah, on the mother animal. And then he did shechita on two young calves. So he's in double violation. Seifeg shmainim. He receives a double portion of lashes, 80, right? One for each offspring. But suppose he does it the other way around. Shachat shnei bonea. He shechs both kids. And then he goes back to the mother. So it's one act of Isser, as we explained, because really it goes the other way too, right? Can start from the kid and go back to the mother. He's in violation, but really it's a double layered violation, because it's the mother of both offspring that had been shechted. Still, the Mishnah holds, the Tanakama holds, there's going to be a shita of Simchas, which will hold that actually you get twice malchus, but according to Tanakama, it's only one portion of malchus. Seifek Isar Boim only gets 40 because even though there are two reasons for Isser, but After all, it's one act of Isser, one Shechita. There's only one set of Malchus. Next case. Shachta, Vezbita, Vezbazbita. So you have three animals lined up. Grandma, the daughter, and the granddaughter. Okay, let's call them 1, 2, and 3. Shachta, he does 1, Vezbita, then down to the next generation 2, Vezbazbita, then down to the next generation. How many violations has he committed? 2. Because when he shechted the grandmother first and went down to the next generation, that's 1 Isser. Oisev es benoi. Then when he went down another generation, it's again Oisev es benoi. So if he gets 2 times Malchus. But let's say he mixes it around. Shachta es baspita. So again, we have 1 is the grandmother, 2 is the daughter, 3 is the granddaughter. Shachta es baspita. He goes from 1, skips down to 3. Okay? He shechted grandmother and granddaughter. And then he does the one in the middle, number 2, the daughter. Which really wears 2 hats. Because she's the daughter of, and she's the mother of. So he's really committed 2 separate Isurim. Because when he shechted the middle generation, it's the daughter of the grandmother, so that's Oisev es benoi, and it's the mother of the granddaughter, benoi v'oisai. Still, since it was one act of Isser, Soifek es harbayim, it's only one set of Malchus. On this, Sumchas Aimer, Mishum Rab Meir, Kotz Rab Meir, Soifek Shmainim. 2 separate portions of Malchus. Because he committed 2 Isurim. One triggered by the grandmother, one triggered by the granddaughter. And we'll get to that a bit later. First, let's dwell on the initial premise of the Mishnah, that although the pasuk says Oisoi ves benoi, indicating that it's in that order, mother and then offspring, truth is it goes the other way too. It's a multi-directional issue. If he starts from the child and goes out to the mother, it's also in violation. Amai, why? Oisoi ves benoi. Look at the wording of the pasuk. Amar Rachmana. In this sequence, Oisoi and then benoi. V'loi benoi v'oisoi, as opposed to benoi going backwards to oisoi. Loi sakadai. You can't suggest that there's a difference between this or that. Loi sakadai. The Sani, we have a brisa. Pasuk says oisoi ves benoi. Okay, ainly elo oisoi ves benoi. Perhaps it's limited to oisoi and then to benoi. What about in the reverse? Oisoi ves ima minai. What if he does the animal and then his mother? How do we know that's also in violation? Talmud gshu. The pasuk says oisoi ves benoi l'sishchatu. Gshu l'sishchatu. Don't do shchita on them. Now, when is it asa to do shchita on both? I mean, it's always just the second one. You have a pair of animals, mother and daughter. First one's A-okay. It's the second one she can't do. Why then does the Torah say don't do both? Harikan Shnaim, the Torah is alluding to 2 animals which are asa to do shchita on. What's that case? Okay, it must be a unique case. It must be, other than just simple cases where like 2 babies, well, that's obvious. It must be that Torah is speaking about a more unique, complex type of case. A multi-directional case. Okay, so it must be like this. What that was, a fellow did shchita on the parah. So far, so good. Nothing wrong. Then, step number 2, so there were 3 animals to begin with. Grandmother, mother, and granddaughter. They started with the middle generation, the parah. Then he went up to the grandmother. That's in violation of benoi v'oisai, right? He did the offspring and then the mother. And the third, ve'echad ha'shechad is benah. The next fellow shechted the grandson. Shnai machroinim chayavim. The last 2 fellows are chayiv. First one did nothing wrong. He did the middle generation, benign. But then when the fellow went up to the grandmother, that's benoi v'oisai. And then when he dropped down to the granddaughter, that's oisai v'es benoi. So we see the Torah holds them both liable. Apparently, it's multi-directional. Whichever sequence you do it in, you're chayiv. Let's turn to Talmud Bavli. And this is based on the word loisishchatu, indicating there's a double. There's 2 isurim. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? It's needed for its own sake. Don't do shchita and oisei esbenai. Imkain, because if it were so, that it's limited to father, offspring, in that direction only. Imkain lichtayv loy sishchait. It would say, don't do shchita. Plural. Hey, don't do that shchita. The second one. My loy sishchatu. Why plural? Indicating that they're both asr. It must be referring to this case that we mentioned, where both of them are asr. One is because he's the son of, one is because he's the father of. Says the Gemara, no, the reason why the Torah words it in this way is for a different reason. Because Rachmana L'Sishchoit, had the Torah spoken singular, L'Sishchoit, Havamina, I would mistakenly believe, Chad in. You know, the entire Isser of Shechting Oisei V'es B'nai is only if it's being performed, executed by the same Sheichet. But let's say Reuben is doing the mother and Shimon the offspring, Trei Loi, maybe that's not Asr. That's why it has to specify plural, even if it's two separate people doing it. Afilu Trei. So it's coming for that. It's not coming to teach us, the multidirectional Isr. Well, in Cain, if it's only for that, Lichteiv Lo Yishachatu. Pasuk would word it differently. They should not be shechted. The Oisei V'es should not be shechted in the same day, which will tell us that irrespective if it's one sheichet or two sheichet, they should not be shechted together. That would be enough to send us that message. Why change it to lo sishchatu? Sishchatu is addressing a person. Two people shouldn't be doing the shechita, indicating that both are about to violate. That's not a standard case. A standard case, only the second person is in violation. Shemam notarti. It must be because it's referring to that complicated case with the three animals. First, shechted one, and then he went up to the grandmother and to the granddaughter. And Torah is warning those two last people, don't do this. You, because you're doing b'nai v'isai, going up, and you, because you're doing oisai v'es b'nai, going down. Shemam notarti. So from the same word, we can learn both halachas. That it's multi-directional, and also that it applies whether it's the same person doing both or two separate people. Okay. Next case was Shachta Ves Bas Bita. So he did the Shechita on the grandmother, then the granddaughter, and then he went to the middle generation. Let's call them 1, 2, and 3, right? 1 is the grandmother, 3 is the granddaughter, and then he went to number 2, who's really wearing two hats. She's the daughter of the grandmother, that's one Isser. She's the mother of the granddaughter, which is another Isser. Simcha says, okay, you get a double malchus, double violation. As opposed to Tanakama says, it's only one act, one shechita, you get only one set of malchus. Now, how are we meant to understand Simchas' opinion? Amalei Abaye le Rav Yosef. So Abaye asks Rav Yosef, how do we understand Simchas' opinion? How far does it go? My time with the Simchas, who says that by doing shechita, merely one act of shechita, he can be liable to double malchus, based on the two reasons, which are separate and distinct, but ultimately it's the same mice, the same act. Nevertheless, he gets two sets of malchus. How do we understand this? Kasavar Simchas. Is it because Simchas holds that all over we work with this principle? Even in the case where a person ate forbidden fats, he sat down not knowing that it's asur, it was b'shoigeg, and he ate double portion, 2 kazayis, olive worths of fat. Kasavar Simchas, the Simchas hold that even over there where it's achal shnei zeisei, he ate 2 zayis quantity portions of chelev, forbidden fats, behelam echad, in one lapse of forgetfulness. Behelam echad, chayiv shtei chatois. He's liable to a double carbon chatos, 1 per kazayis. Right? Despite the fact that it was sort of one experience. He hadn't discovered in between that he ate. It was one extended moment of not realizing. Okay? He's going to be chayiv too because we treat them as separate violations. And likewise, in our story, where he was warned only once. Don't do this. Don't shech this animal. You're violating the law of oisei v'es b'nai. But since oisei v'es b'nai has a double application, right? It goes oisei b'nai and then b'nai v'oisei, right? It goes both directions. And in this case, he transgressed both within the same act. He's chayiv a double malchus. Is that the way to understand Sumchas in the Mishnah? Ubedinu de lashminin ba'alma. The truth is that he could have notified this, could have taught us this halacha elsewhere. For instance, in the case of the double portion of chaylev, like we explained. So why did he pick specifically our scenario of oisay vesperay v'hayde kamash malan? The point of informing us Sumchas' opinion specifically in this type of case, the Mishnah was trying to highlight the contrasting view of the Rabbanan, which is highlighted to a greater extent in our Mishnah. Because, look, the Rabbanan hold that in this case we shechted just one animal, even though there are really two triggers. She's the son of, the daughter of, and the mother of the next. So they're coming from two different gufim, two different bodies that are triggering this double layer isser on this single. Still, the Rabbanan maintain that it's only one portion of Malkus. After all, it's one act, it's one isser, it's one maisa. That was the point of presenting their machlokes, specifically in our case, to highlight the Rabbanan's opinion. Even in this case, it's only one single Malkus. To inform us, to teach us to what extent the Rabbanan limited to one. Koyach on the Rabbanan. Usually we say, koyach the hetera adav, the koyach of the permitter is superior. It draws on a greater measure of confidence, so to speak. So we always try to highlight the lenient view. In this case, the Shitas Rabbanan, the avagav, the gufen muchlakin, even though the Isra on this animal, this double-layered Isra is being triggered by two separate bodies, meaning it's being triggered from two separate directions. Why is it asa to shech this middle one? Because he already shechted his mother. Why is it asa to shech this middle one? Because he already shechted his offspring. So those two, mother and offspring, are two separate gufin. And still Pater Rabban exempt him. Hold him only liable to one set of Malkus. Okay, so that's one way to look at it. That's one perspective. The machlokes between Sumchas and the Rabbanan go from one extreme to the other. Meaning, even when it's triggered by two, Rabbanan say it's only one chiyuv, and Sumchas hold, even in the case of he ate the same exact material, chaylev, but he ate a double portion, there are two separate chiyuv. That's one way to look at it. Here comes the second approach. Or you can say no. Sumchas will not extend his chiddush that far. No, not in the case of the double chaylev. That's the same material, it's the same, eating. Or you can say, kasavar sumchas, achal shnei zeis chaylev, be'elam echad einu chayv achas. In the case of the two zeisim, of course, he only gets one chiyuv. It's only over here by the oyusev es benoi that he splits it into two, that he holds him liable for two. You know why? Because the isser on this animal is a double-layered isser coming from two different directions, two different gufin that are triggering the isser. That's really a double isser, distinctive, separate. Okay, so which way is it? We know that Sumchas in our Mishnah considers him liable for two. Is it dafka over here because there are two gufin triggering the double-layered isser? Or perhaps he would apply his concept of double liability to all types of similar cases. A double chaylev, double kilayim, we'll see soon. Amar Leis Rav Yosef says, yep, all the way in, yep, kasavar. In fact, Sumchas holds that even in the case of the double portion of chaylev, he's liable to two. How do I know this to be true? I mean, it's a big chiddush, big stretch. It's not. It's a Mishnah, Brisa, regarding planting a mix of grape and grain seeds, which is kilai, right? Kilai hakera. So the Brisa reads like this: Hazareya, if one plants kilayim, a mix, kilayim, a mix. Mix. What's the double mix? We'll see soon. He gets malchus for violating the issur of planting kilayim. Now, when we say he gets malchus, a single portion of malchus, or a double portion of malchus, as per his two activities. My loika, ilay loika achas. Do we mean to say that he only gets one portion of malchus? Well, pshita, obviously. I mean, we all know that you get malchus for kalayim. What's the point of the price? V'oid, furthermore, if it's only one, what's the repetitive lashon in the brisa? My kilayim and then kilayim again. Ela pshita beis malchus. Apparently, we're speaking that he's getting a double portion of malchus, one per each planting. Okay, fine. Once we establish that, let's try to delve into the circumstance here. What's the sin? What happened here? We're speaking that it was sequentially, meaning that he was warned twice. Hey, don't do that plant. Don't do that plant. Of course he gets a double malchus. There's no question. According to all shittas, it's old news. Tanina, we better have a Mishnah. We discussed this many times. We have it in Makkis, in Nazir. Right? Nazir, who's not allowed to drink wine. Okay, sat down near this big vat, this big barrel, and he's drinking away. He's only held accountable for one violation. It's one continuous violation. He was warned, don't drink, and he drinks all day, he gets one malchus. But let's say he was repetitively warned. They told him, Al Tishta, what are you doing? Why are you drinking? Gulp. Al Tishta, what are you doing? You're going to get malchus. Gulp. In this case, there are split violations. Chayiv al kalachas b'achas gets a separate malchus per experience. Of course, in the case of kalayim as well. I mean, what's the point of discussing this? El pshita basachas, basra achas. Oh, so it must be that he did it in one shot. So, like in one hand he was holding, a grape seed with a wheat kernel. The other hand he was holding a grape seed with a barley kernel. Basra achas, and the edim, the witnesses, only gave him one single warning. Hey, don't do that. No. And what does the brisa say? Even though it was one single experience, he gets a double malchus. Mani, who's speaking in this brisa? Who'd give him a double malchus? Either with the Rabbanon, the pligale the Sumchas. Could it be the Rabbanon who disagree with Sumchas and now Mishnah? Sumchas says you get a double malchus for the Oisiv Ezbran. Rabbanon say you only get a single malchus. Well, if in our Mishnah, where we explain the double Issa is triggered from two directions, from two separate bodies, still the Rabbanan insist on only a single malchus. Of course, in the case of the Kalayim, it's only a single one. Why would he get two? Hashta, look, Uma Hasam, the Gufun Mukhlak, and even in the case of our Mishnah, where the double Isser on the animal here is being sent over by two different directions from two different Gufin, still Patri Rabbanan says only Chayiv one, because it's one experience. Of course, in the case of a Kalayim, of course, you don't even have this double body factor. Of course, he gets only one malchus. El loves sumchas. Apparently, that brisa is sumchas speaking. No, what is sumchas telling us? That even though it's just a single warning, but since he's doing it twice with one hand, the other hand, he gets a double malchus. There you go. So that tells us something about Sumchas' the extent of Sumchas' opinion, that even in this type of case, you get a double liability. No. Perhaps the Bryce is actually reflective of the Shita of the Rabbanon. And we're speaking that there was only one Hasra, one warning, and of course he only gets one Malchus. Well, isn't that obvious? Why bother discuss? The truth is that the Brisa really had no reason to teach us this basic fact. It's well known. It was trying to teach us something sort of by way of conversation. It's trying to enlighten us regarding some kilayim insight. The fact that the Brisa speaks about a fellow planting two types of kilayim. In one sitting, as we explained, one had the grape seed with the barley, the other hand had the grape seed with the wheat. What does that tell us about the nature of the Isra of Kalayim? There are two types of Kalayim mixes. Grape seed with wheat, grape seed with barley. Each one alone qualifies as an Isra of planting Kalayim. As opposed to Rabbi Yashi, who says, no way. It is only considered Kalayim if it's a mix between wheat, barley, and a grape seed, all three together. And clearly this Brisa disagrees. Damar V'Yashir, Ach Yizra Chita, he's only liable by Kilaya Akerem if he plants a Chita, Usa Eira, wheat and barley, V'chartz, and a grapeseed, Matzah, in one, handful, one plant. And the Brisa is teaching us otherwise. Kamash Malon de Chizora Chita V'chartz, the Brisa is teaching us that if a fellow can be executing two forms of Kalayim concurrently, because on one hand he has the chitza v'chartzen, the wheat and the barley, u'sa'ir v'chartzen, and on the other hand he has the barley and the grapeseed. Now he's also chayiv, even though he didn't mix all three together. Okay, so we're sort of left hanging in terms of what's the true shita of sumchas. We know that in our case, right? Let's go back. In our Mishnah we have oisav es benoi, where it's chayiv two for the same animal. Why? Because he already shechted the mother and then the granddaughter. Now he's going to the middle generation, right? And he's usher for two reasons, because she's a daughter of and she's a mother of. Sumcha says two malchiyas. Is it dafka in this case because it's being triggered by two separate gufim, or does it apply elsewhere as well when we don't have that factor? Tashmai comes another attempt at proving and establishing the true scope of sumchas as shita. Okay, we shift over to the issue of eating gid hanash, right? So that nerve in the thigh of the animal is also for us to eat. Here comes a Mishnah which says like this: Achal mizeh kazayis. So you had a kazayis worth of one of the gid of the right thigh, the gid of the left thigh. He ate a kazayis of one, umizeh kazayis. Then he had a kazayis of the other gid on the other side of the animal. Soifeg shmoinim. He gets 80 lashes because he committed gid anasha twice. So going to the shita here, Tanakama, the Isser of gid anasha applies to both nerves on both sides of the animal, both right and left thighs. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He says that gid anasha is only one or the other. We're not sure which one, but it's either the right or the left. So in this case, where he ate a portion of both, so between the both of them, he has violated gid anasha, right? But you only get a maximum of 40 malkas because you only did one isr. Echidami. Now, again, let's try to figure out exactly what happened here. He ate the two gid anashas, right? In one shot, sequentially, concurrently. What happened? Tanakama says he gets a double malchus. Is it because he ate one at 12 o'clock with a warning, one at 2 o'clock preceded by a warning? Okay, that explains why, according to Tanakama, he gets double malchus, because he committed two separate isurim, one at 12 o'clock, one at 2 o'clock. But we're going to get stuck with Rabbi Yehuda. You see, according to Rabbi Yehuda, only one of the two is really us, we just don't know which one. So yeah, if you had them both together under the same warning, so between the both of them, he certainly committed. But when they were separated by separate experiences, separate warnings, you can't hold him responsible, because each one alone is not a for sure violation. And the hasra, the warning that preceded that, is called hasra safek, an uncertain warning. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, we assume, according to Rabbi Yehuda, hasra safek has no validity. Okay? My time with Rabbi Yehuda, why does Rabbi Yehuda say it's chayiv? Hasra safek, it's an uncertain hasra. V'shaminili Rabbi Yehuda, we know that Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar who says hasra safek, has no validity. Lo yishmi hasra, it's not called a warning, the sanya. Where do we find that? Okay, so now we shift over to yet another case. One is forbidden. Strike his father, his mother, curse his father, his mother. Let's say he's not sure who his father is. He was born right in the beginning of his second marriage. Could be the second fellow was his father, could be the first fellow was his father. Okay? The sanya, so we have a brisa. Hika ezeh, v'chazav hika ezeh. So he has both questionable, Suffolk father standing against the wall, and he strikes one and strikes the other. Rashi says he was born within 7 months of the second marriage, of the first marriage. 7 months after within the second marriage, and she had married too soon to discern if this is a son of Reuven, the first husband, or Shimon the second husband. So when this kid grew up, he struck both fathers, or he cursed both fathers. Kilil Azeh sent out a curse against Reuven, V'chazar v'kilil Azeh, and then against Shimon. So he did it sequentially, or he did it concurrently, simultaneously. Ashika shneim vas achas. Right? He gave one strike against both. Or shekil shneim vas achas, he cursed them both in one shot. Chayav. He gets Malchus. Why? Because according to the Tanakama, since one of these two is certainly his father, okay, so either way, either way, he reached the father. Okay, so either it was separate experiences, he was warned, hey, don't hit him. Then he went to the other father, hit him. Cursed him, or he did it within the same experience, under the same warning. It's chayv, because either way, he certainly struck or cursed his father. Rabbi Omer, no. It's not so simple. Yeah, bevas achas chayiv. If it was in one shot, meaning he was warned against doing this and he struck both of them together, or cursed both of them together, then between the two of them, one was the father, is chayiv. But bezeh hazeh pater. If it was one after the other, he's pater. So he was warned, hey, don't hit your father, he hit Reuven. He was warned again, don't hit, he hit Shimon. He's pater because each one, independent of the other, is merely a suffix. So clearly, Rabbi holds hasra'as suffix, an uncertain warning, has no validity. Yeah, playing games with it. You have to tell them the way it is, with uncertainty, with no uncertainty, definitively. That's a serious warning. But if there's any element of uncertainty, it doesn't have validity. Okay, so once that's been established, that Rabbi holds hasra'as suffix doesn't work. So let's go back to the case of the Gid HaNasha. He ate a piece of the right Gid HaNasha, a piece of the left Gid HaNasha. Rabbi says he gets at least one set of malchus. It cannot be b'zeh achaseh. It cannot be that it happens separately, because then each one alone is a suffix. Because according to Rabbi, the only one, the right or the left, is really the Isra. Ela b'shita bas achas or basra achas. Oh, so clearly that case of the Gid HaNasha was speaking that it was concurrent. So he was warned, hey, don't eat, and he ate both pieces right on the left with one warning. On that, we can understand why Rabbi Yehuda says he's liable. Because between the two of them, right or left, one of them is Asr, and he ate them both with the same warning, in the same experience, he's Chai. Okay, so that's Rabbi Yehuda. But the Tanakama says you get two sets of Malchus. He's Chayv twice. Uman Tanakama. Who's the Tanakama speaking? Who's the author of that opinion? Ilim the Rabbanan. Once again, we'll go through the same steps. Is it the Rabbanan, the Pligal of Sumchas, who disagreed with Sumchas and our Mishnah with Oisav Esbenoi? They hold that if you shech the animal, you only get one chiv. Well, hashta look, and even in the case of Oisav Esbenoi, where the double Isser is being triggered by two gufin, the mother and the granddaughter, Pat Rabbanan say you pater, you only get one chiv. Certainly in this case, where you don't have the double body element, so certainly you only chayiv. You only have, one set of malchus for this eating experience. There was one warning. It's really one isra. The only other option is sumchas. Oh, so clearly we've established that now sumchas holds. Not only in the case of gufin mechulakin is he liable for two. Even in a case where it's a double portion of chelev, double portion of Gid HaNasha, you chayiv twice, even though it was under the same, umbrella, in the same experience, with the same warning. No, perhaps the case of Gid HaNasha is speaking that it was sequential. He was warned, he ate one. He was warned again, he ate the other one. It's the Rabbanan speaking. Even the Rabbanan agreed that if it was a totally separate experience with a separate warning, of course he's chayiv twice. Oh, so what was wrong with that? Because then you're going to run into issue with Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says he gets a single malchus because it was either the right or the left, which is asr. Okay, but why are you getting any malchus? The whole thing is asra safek, because when he was warned on this one, we don't know if it's real, and the other one, The answer is there's a different version of Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that even Hasra Safek has validity, and that's going to be the shita of this brisa. The Tana of this Mishnah, the other version of Rabbi Yehuda presented in a different brisa, that even Hasra Safek, Dam Hasra Safek, is considered a valid Hasra, and therefore it works. Where do we find that? Oh, so we veer off again, the Sanya, and we're going to see in this brisa that Rabbi Yehuda will count even Hasra Safek, the Sanya. Don't leave over, carbon material until the morning. There's a lav, right? Don't do that. If one does that, burn it. We turn to the next page. So that actually spares him from getting malchus, because that's called a lav. It's a negative commandment, which is backed up by an assay with a sort of a remedy to fix it up. Burn it. Torah is now presenting an assay, a way to remedy, to rectify what he did, i.e. burn it in the morning. Achar, which follows Eloisa, say the warning against leaving it over. Laimar, which teaches us, there's no malchus, it's called a lavanitik laseh. Divrei, who's speaking? Rabbi Yehuda. But otherwise, let's say it would be a regular lav, he would get malchus. Oh, and Rashi explains, this is a classic Hasra Safek. Why would he get malchus, according to Rabbi Yehuda? Skip the fact that it's a lavanitik laseh, it's not. Why is it Hasra Safek? Because when are you going to warn him? At 1 o'clock in the morning? Hey, don't leave. It's left time. 2 o'clock, it's left time. We can't know for sure now that he's going to actually wait it out until the morning, past the deadline. So all throughout the night, even if we warn him ahead of time, it's called Hasra Safek. And Rashi in Maseches Shavuos says it's impossible to, maybe catch him at the last moment, right before daybreak. It's impossible to actually time it so perfectly. At the very moment when he just has exactly enough time to eat it, and not a second before, not a second. So, by its very essence, this Hasra Safek, and still Rabbi Yehuda reckons with it. If not for the saving grace that it's a lavanitik laseh, he would get malchus. So clearly, according to this version of Rabbi Yehuda holds, even Hasra Safek has validity. But let's just finish the brisa. So we sort of addressed that issue, we answered that question. The brisa just concludes with a different opinion in terms of why, in fact, one is exempt from malchus by leaving over the basar of Neisar. Rabbi Yaakov, this is not the reason for that. Rather, it's because it's a isser which doesn't entail a physical act. It's just a passive type of transgression. He's just leaving it. A lav which does not entail a physical act. There's no malchus for that, because we learned the source of malchus from the Vaisachsum Shabradisha, and they muzzle the animal. That's where the example of malchus in the Torah. So over there was a physical act, here there was. Okay, back to our discussion. How far reaching is Sumchas's chidush of double violation, triggering double malchus? Is it just in the case of Oisav Benay, where it's triggered by two separate animals, or elsewhere as well? Tashma comes another attempt at trying to establish how, in fact, Rav Yosef knew that Sumchas's concept extends even to all the other cases of eating double portions of Isser under the same experience, under the same warning. Tashma. So back to Gidanash. Achal shnei gidin mishtei reichos mishtei behemos savik shmeinim. He ate 2 gidim. Okay, coming from the right thighs of 2 animals. So according to this shita, the Gidanash Isser only applies to the right thigh. Okay, from 2 animals, he gets shmeinim. He's 80 malchus. 1 per each gid. It's only 40. Again, what's the story? So we're speaking that he ate 1, and then again later with repeated warnings. Well, then the 2 separate isurim. My time to Rabbi Yehuda the Amar Arba'im Musulay. Why can't I read it's only 40 malchus? Separate experiences, separate violations. El Pshita must be it's one single experience. Bas achat b'chad asra. It was concurrent, 1 experience under 1 warning. Okay. That's why, according to it's only 1 malchus. Who's the Tanakama speaking? Who's the Tanakama who holds that you get 2 malchus? Man Tanakama. So once again, the same steps. Ilema Rabbanon, the Pligali to Sumchas. Is it the Rabbanon who disagree with Sumchas in our Mishnah by the shechting the middle animal after shechting its mother and its daughter? You only have 1. Well, if you have only 1 there, despite the fact that it's 2 different gufim, certainly in this case it's only 1. If even in that case, the Guvin Mukhlakan, where the two Isurim are coming from two different animals, one because of the grandmother that was Shech, the one because of the granddaughter, Pat Rabban exempted from two Malkas. It's only Chayiv one because it's one act of Isur. Certainly in this case, we ate two Giranashas. It's essentially one Isur. It's one type of Isur. It's Giranasha. Like Koshkan first, of course, he's only liable for one. Elav Sumchasi. The only other option is Sumchas. And just like in Al Mishnah, the Chayiv two, likewise, elsewhere in the Torah, where a person violates two Isurim, even though it's Belasachas and one experience with one warning, is Chayiv two separate sets of Malkas. No, the Olam B'zeh. Perhaps we're speaking that he ate them separately, sequentially. He was warned, he ate. He was warned, he ate. As per your question, if it's two separate, distinct, independent Yisurim, why is Rabbi minimizing it and only giving him one set of Malkas? It was an issue of amount. Going to less be Kazayas. Each one didn't have a Kazayas worth, which is the standard minimum amount for Issa, right? And only by combining them did he get a Kazayas. That was the case. Still, Tanakama says you get two separate Malkas. Why? Because a Giranasha is something important. It's like a Bria, it's like a creature on it, it's like its own entity. So, its qualitative advantage sort of makes up for its quantitative deficiency. That's Tanakama Shita. So you get Malkas for this, it's like a whole entity, and Malkas for that. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He says, you know what? It's not a bria. It's not a bria. It's not like a full creature. It's just a piece of the animal, a piece of flesh, like anything else. You need to have a kazayis. So, in combination, there's a kazayis. He gets a malchus, but only one malchus, because that's what he did. He only had one amount of isra. Okay, look at Amr's. My time the reader asked per your question. Why should be only giving him one malchus? Because let's be kazayis. There is no kazayis in each one. Only together. The sani we have a brayso. He ate a full Giranasha, but there has no kazayis. Too small. Chayev, according to Tanakama, is chayev. Because, just like we find elsewhere, a bria, beria, like a creature is considered chashev, substantial, despite its smallness in size. Same thing with the Giranasha, it's considered like its own entity, is chayev despite the fact that it's less than a kazayis. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Rabbi Yehuda achiheba kazayis, only chayiv unless there's a kazayis. So in this case, only by combining them does he get to the kazayis. That's why he's only chayiv one for eating kazayis of Giranasha. So basically, we haven't really resolved our shaila because we thought there was a riot regarding Simchas's opinion. Well, it turns out that perhaps we're speaking that with two separate achilas, two separate warnings. In which case, it doesn't relate to Simchas's discussion. We were trying to figure out whether according to Simchas, even in one experience, if it's two separate amounts, two separate kazaysim, what happens when we haven't really resolved that. Okay, let's recap today's daf. We referred back to the Mishnah about Shchita Sheina Ru'ya, and in that list we find Paraduma, we find Egal Rufa, and the question was whether these actually belong on the list. We spoke about prioritizing the first customer over the second customer. We spoke about the Isser being multi-directional, Oysev as Benai, and backwards as well. We have a case where he did one act of Isser, but really it encompasses two elements of Isser. According to Sumchas, there's a double Malkus. According to Rabbanan, there's one Malkus. And we had a whole discussion regarding Sumchas' opinion, how far, to what extent would that apply. All the best to you, Natzlacha Rab.